Hi everybody, welcome to Technique Tuesday, and also welcome to my very messy desk. That's okay, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. So a couple weeks ago I said that we were going to start a series on using polymer clay to make jewelry. I also posted a list of items that you might want to pick up ahead of time. So we're going to run through those today, and then I will add an additional video towards the end of the week where we're actually going to make something. So today we're going to talk about things that we need to get started. So one is polymer clay. You can buy it anywhere that sells it. Buy it online, buy it in the Michael's, Hobby Lobby, wherever you want. You'll notice that I have translucent here. You will always want a block of translucent. That's going to be one of the things you really use a lot of. We've got various colors. I've got Sculpey, and then I've got Fimo that I use. So kind of go back and forth on which one I like, but I like them both. But I will recommend that once you use one brand, don't mix the two. You'll notice that they have different baking instructions. So you want to always watch out for that. Other people say it's fine to mix them. I prefer not to. That's probably just me. You're going to want some glue. This is oven bake adhesive, and this is going to help you when you're trying to pull all your pieces together. It's also going to help when you're trying to add different items to the top of your earrings. Let's say you want to put a flower on there, then we are going to glue that flower down. You're going to want a flat working surface. So I have a piece of marble here that was cut out from a kitchen sink that was being installed. You can go to marble shops and ask them for their cutoffs. Some places will charge you for it, and some will just kind of hand them over to you. So it depends on what kind of mood they're in. You're also going to want a toaster oven. I'll show you a picture of mine here in just a little bit because I'm going to have to move the camera. But look over Facebook Marketplace, look in the thrift stores and Salvation Army, Goodwill, things like that, and find a toaster oven. Usually there's a couple of them in there. You want to make sure that once you start using your toaster oven for polymer clay, that you don't use it for food. So mark it up, put a sticker on it, whatever you need to do, but make sure that you don't go back to using that for food. You're also going to want to find a temperature gauge. Toaster ovens, sometimes a little iffy on whether they keep the right temperature or not, so you want to check your temperature frequently. Mine actually runs about 10 degrees lower than what it says it does, so I need to compensate for that when I put my clay in. You're also going to want some just oven mitts. It is going to be hot when you take them out, so make sure you don't burn yourself. You're also going to want a flat surface to actually bake on. So this ceramic tile came from one of the hardware stores, and this, or any number of the ones that I have, they're cheap to buy, is what I will bake on. A lot of people will create their designs on this as well and then just slide it into the toaster oven. Kind of depends on what I'm working on that day as to whether I will design it on here, transfer it to here, and then put it in, or if I'll just do it right on the ceramic tile. You're also going to want some aluminum foil. We're going to use this to tint. We're going to wrap it and tint our items before we put them in the oven, especially when you're using translucent clay. Translucent clay tends to yellow. So make sure you tint your items. Some people tint everything, but everybody will tint the translucent. We also need an acrylic roller. If you've got an old rolling pin that you're never going to use for food again, you can also use that. But this helps you flatten out your items. We also use it to put texture onto the items. These texture sheets I actually found at the $1.25 store, and they're double-sided, so they're kind of cool. You can just lay it down, roll it over, and get a cool texture on it. Needed to press a little harder to get the texture all the way down. So I also have a couple of these little texture rollers. These are so cool. You can just roll it right over your clay, and there's your pattern. So this is just a cute little texture roller. That's just your acrylic roller. Then you're also going to need some cutters. So I've found them on the internet. I've found them in the clearance section of the stores. I've also had my dad 3D print some for me. Aren't these fabulous? Love these designs. There's several out there that also include the hole for where you're going to put your findings in. I really like those. Those are great. I've also found different cutters in the clearance section. Again, I think this was Hobby Lobby. So don't be afraid to check out the clearance section and see what you can find in there. We also have a pasta machine. Again, Facebook Marketplace or thrift store, great place to find one. Here's the handle that goes with it. Allows you to adjust the thickness here. And we're going to put our clay in it and act like we're making pasta. Again, don't ever use this for making pasta after you've used it for clay. It also usually comes with a bracket that allows you to mount it to the table you're working on. That's helpful to keep it steady so you don't have to hang on to it. Also need some tissue blades. You can see I just got all kinds of stuff over my desk today. These are kind of thinned, bendable blades that allow you to go up under the item you're working on, or you can use them to cut. So these are extremely handy. They also make some other ones, you know, kind of like this. I found this in a clearance section. Slide that right under. It's a little more clunky, doesn't bend quite as much, but it does work. It also came with an optional crinkle cut, so you can make waffle fries. No, just kidding. Don't use it on food once you've used it on clay. So those are neat. We are also going to want some gloves. If you're latex allergic, make sure you get some that work for you. Those are perfect for when you're using paint and you don't want to get paint all over your hands. We've also got some sandpaper. This does double duty. One is for when the item comes out of the oven and has cooled down. We can sand the edges, take any little rough spots off. These are also handy. They're like nail files. The other thing I use sandpaper for is creating a texture. It makes this nice little pebbly texture. Not sure if you can see that. Whoops, helps if I put it right in the line of the camera. So it creates this nice little pebbly texture on there. I also use a sharp knife. I've got one floating around on my desk here somewhere, like an X-Acto or craft knife. I also will need something to store my clay in. So we're going to talk more about that a little later on. These little baggies work fine, but make sure on your baggies you put something that indicates what is in your baggie and which brand. Is this Sculpey? Is this Vibo? I don't know. So that's not real helpful. So definitely label your bags. Keep a couple of pieces of just regular copier paper around. If your clay gets too oily, go ahead and put your clay in the piece of paper. Sometimes you'll need to leave it for 30 minutes, sometimes you'll need to leave it for 3 hours or more, sometimes even overnight, and it will help leach out any excess oil that's in the clay. You're going to want some jewelry findings, obviously, because you're going to turn this into jewelry. You're going to want a pokey thing. Everybody's got pokey things floating around. These are just helpful for countless different reasons. We're also going to want some plastic wrap, and let me show you how we're going to use this. I'm going to cut out two shapes, one with the plastic wrap and one without, and you tell me. So I've got just a cutter here, and I'm just going to cut that out, and then I'm going to cut this out. These aren't very thick, but this, once I peel that away, the one that we used the plastic wrap on has a more of a rounded edge to it, whereas, boy, I hope you guys can see this. This has got more of a straight edge around it. So, two different looks just by using plastic wrap or not. We will also want some acrylic paint. We'll just start out with black and white for now, and then you can get creative with your colors down the road. There are other items that you're going to want to purchase as you move along, but this is a good starting point. Some of the other items might be some glitter, extra ultra fine, some alcohol dyes. I've got some transfer paper. I've got multiple texture sheets with all different designs on them. So cool. I've also found different items that can be used as a texture sheet. This came out of, I think, a box of chocolates, and it's really cool when you, let's see if I can flatten this out enough to where you can see what it does. Just makes this neat little design on it. So we'll just smush that down and put that over there. So now you see, got this cute little square design. So you'll notice there are things around your house that you can use for impressions, not just texture sheets. Moving on down the road, you might also want some silk screen designs. Let's see, I've got several in here. Of course, can't find them. Oh, there we go, there's one. So this one's got some boho patterns on it. Same with this. Here's another silk screen, a Sculpey one, found on clearance. Can't pass that up. You're also going to want maybe some gold leaf. This stuff is awesome. I actually have gold, copper, and silver. When you're using this, make sure your hands are dry, very, very dry. Even might want to put some baby powder on your fingers before you start using it. This stuff gets static on it so easily. You'll see once you start playing with it. And then this is just some gold leaf that's already in smaller pieces. You're going to, oh, this should have been on the necessary list. You're going to want some hand wipes, baby wipes, generic, cheap, the better. The cheaper the better. You're going to want a trash can because you're going to make a mess. And you're also going to want some paper towels. Another thing you will possibly want is some baby powder. Some people use cornstarch, some people use baby powder, some people use nothing, or some people will use water. And we'll go into more of that as we start getting deeper into this. And that they use to stop their stamps, their cutters, excuse me, from sticking to the clay. So there's pros and cons to each one of them, but just an example. You're also going to want some mica powders moving on. These make really beautiful designs. And let's see, you may also want a clay extruder. This one's probably not going to be very sturdy because it's made of plastic, so you might want to look for one that's a metal extruder. And then there is also a product out there that will help you put the backings on earrings. So that's coming in soon, and when it gets here I will show it to you. Let's see, what else have we got? Out of all this mess on my desk, I've also used this. This is just a butter cutter, believe it or not. And if I'm wanting to make straight lines, I can press on this, make my line, and use my tissue blade and just follow that line. So again, look around your house and see what items you can use for different techniques. I think we've pretty much covered all the items that you're going to need to start with. I will show you my toaster oven here in just a moment, and we will move on to actually making something. So here is my toaster oven. This one actually happens to be specifically for polymer clay and craft items. Doesn't look like anything different than a regular toaster oven. And just because it says it's just for polymer clay doesn't mean it runs true to temperature. Like I mentioned, mine runs about 10 degrees off. So I can check that with my thermometer. I've got my tray that I can put my working surface on, and then I've got some heat gloves or pot holders, whatever you want to call them, to be able to pull that out.